Pacific Standard Time, bringing you all the latest in collegiate League of Legends news. Try to gather everything I can throughout the week, condense it, and present it to you, like I said, every Friday for at least a 15-minute show for at least the information part, because the first 15 minutes I have a guest, and as you can tell, I have Evan RL on this time around. Usually, I have. Last year, I did say I was going to have more coaches and supporting staff, management, things like that on the show. This is Evan RL is actually going to be the first player on the show for Ward Up this season. So, Evan, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Hey, no problem. So, let's get into it because you're actually about to do some scrims, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna delay this too much here. But I do want to say thank you for coming on. You actually were the ADC for Robert Morris University. You've traveled to Columbia College.
hmm
Not everyone can say they've done that. I mean, some players do travel. You have Lords, who has a couple players from Columbia College on there. But you're here right now. I'm going to get your opinion because you're also one of the best ADCs, and I like having the best opinion here. So, your venture from Robert Morris University over to Columbia College, how has that been? How has the transition been? Have you run into roadblocks, or has it been pretty easy for you?
hmm Um, I think the transition phase has been pretty easy. Just coming from RMU to here, this environment seems a lot more focused and driven on bringing home the championship, and that's like an environment that I thrive in, and that's what I want. And so it's been great.
And well, like so, Bucksack was actually the ADC before you. He was on in Columbia College. He has to go up to jungle. I think
hmm
that's for various reasons that happening. But we're gonna stick to this one right here, being that you came in and Drake Porter, the coach for Columbia College, saw that you had more potential in the ADC position and knew that Bucksack could fill the shoes of the jungle. Has that been any sort of difficulty whatsoever, or was that also a pretty smooth transition? Because um, I mean, I know on some teams, whenever you're, I'm not going to say forced, but at least convinced to go to a different role because someone else may be able to do it better to you. Was that ever an issue, or has it been again pretty easy?
th- that whole transition thing, we talked about it for a bit, and then Drake approached Zach and was like, "What's your thoughts on jungling?" And he was down for it, and so we went with that, and that's been good so far. Of course, there's growing pains. Like the first couple weeks were rough, but he had to learn probably the most complicated role in competitive. So no one's like flaming him for learning and improving. And he's one of the most he's really focused on learning and just trying to just do better every single set, and then like going over VODs, and he's a very driven player, so he's taken it well.
And have any of you has anyone done things to make you more comfortable, or was it just sort of a thing that you knew Drake? This was just going to be an easy place for you because, well, just because it was. I mean, you already had a familiar face in the team here.
hmm Uh, it's been pretty comfortable. It's like I don't know. Coming from RMU, I knew I didn't want to go to RMU for another year, and so Drake was going to Columbia. So I talked to him, and I'm like, hey, after I'm done in the LLN, which is the Mexican Pro League, is there going to be a scholarship open? And he said yes, and so I was super excited to go and do that. And it's just a really good environment that I'm glad to be working in.
Yeah, and I actually want to talk about the Mexican Pro League for a second because that's something that doesn't really come up as much in the community as I feel like it should because you that gives you international experience. Some of these teams that you're, well, Maryville University, for instance, they've been over to China. I mean, they played in the International Collegiate Cup last year. Do you feel like international exposure has really affected your gameplay or your attitude toward collegiate play whatsoever?
Um, I feel like most people would say yes, but I kind of say no. When I was in Mexico, the first time was great. The second time had many roadblocks, and so I was able to see I don't like this team environment for this reason, and I'm able to make the changes here that avoid that situation, so it helps make this better.
Okay. So overall, I mean, yeah, I mean overall, you're still like it's. I feel like that should be brought up a bit more.
Mhm.
But I just want to move on again because, like I said, I mean, you have some scrims going on, so I'm gonna pace this up just a little bit here and go back,
Sure.
maybe backpedal just a little bit. And talking about Robert Morris University. what is the difference between, from your experience? Because I've gotten Drake's experience before. He was on
Hmm.
show number one. If you haven't watched it, go to our YouTube, youtube.com/tstarleague. Check our VODs. Word up. Episode 1. Drake Porter is on there. He talks about that a little bit,
The
but I want to
best
get
episode.
it. Until this one, I'm going to
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah, I'm going to go and get your opinion. What is from your perspective? How is playing on Columbia College different than
Mhm.
playing on Robert Morris University?
So my experience at Robert Morris was overall positive. Like I made some lifelong friends there, and that was my first intro into the collegiate scene. And we did well there for the 2 years I was there, getting second and then third, fourth. So it was definitely a positive experience. But the way the program was ran at RMU was not driven with the goal of winning CLOL. It was driven more as to like just get a bunch of kids on a scholarship. It sounds bad to say, but I mean that's kind of their goal. They didn't want to like help us win. Where here, they give us everything we need. We have daily meetings. We have staff who want to be here, and everyone here on this team is pretty like-minded, and they want to improve and they want to win. And that's something that was sort of lacking at Robert Morris, but it was mainly just off the back of the school not running that program well.
So you said you didn't want to, you knew for sure you didn't want to go to Robert Morris University. Did you look at other colleges, or was Columbia College kind of a shoe in because of Drake Porter being here, having a familiar face and that comfort level? Or like I said, did you look at your other options in life outside of going into other
Hmm.
colleges?
I always like to look at all my options. So of course I was in talks with Maryville, but unfortunately by the time I had reached out to them, all their scholarships were taken up. So it made CC pretty much the only option for the scholarship I was looking for.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
pretty
because
easy.
actually Maryville was looking for well, eventually they started looking for it once Cat Ears ended up not being on that team. Eventually, yeah, looking for a support player. And
Yeah.
again, some people forget. I mean, because you've been setting fire to the ADC role right now, which we'll get to the stats in that in just a moment. Um, some people forget that you were actually a support player for a second on Robert Morris University, and you actually did really well, especially on Malzahar. I remember particularly, but the meta is
You
what
can
it
ask Dean
is.
about that one.
Maybe sometime I will. But a lot of people forget that you actually were a support player on Robert Morris University. Is that something that really helped you kind of develop your ADC skills a bit more, or do you feel like you just overall the position on Columbia College as ADC is just a more comfortable position because of the support structure you have?
I mean, obviously playing AD is more comfortable, but that experience I got as a support was actually invaluable because I learned so much more about how the game's supposed to be played, macro, vision, timings, tempo, all that stuff that you don't really think of as an AD carry. I had to live that for the 2-3 months that I played support.
Yeah.
So it was actually super valuable, and I'm able to translate that and help this team in those spots.
Yeah, it wasn't just 2 3 months. It was also like 2 3 months of the highest competitive play in collegiate at the time because I think it was into playoffs if I recall.
Hmm. Yep.
Um, So, going back to your ADC role a little bit, we talked about we're going to get into stats. You are currently the highest, I believe is what is it? The highest CS per minute in collegiate League of Legends. As far as the 4 conferences go, I did not look at Big Ten. I didn't look at Peach Belt Conference, but. As far as the North, South, East, and West, you are the highest. Everyone, all the other top, like anyone behind you, trails at 9. You have 10 CS per minute. And with something like that, when you're setting a precedence like that, do you feel any pressure coming onto you, or do you just sort of brush it off and just play your best every game, no matter what?
No, there's no pressure to like play for stats. I mean, for me, I played, you know, pro league twice. I made the finals in one of the Mexican pro leagues, which is playing in front of 25,000 people. International wildcard all star event. Like once you play enough events, you just focus on what's in front of you, and you don't think about, oh, I don't want to die. Oh, I need to get CS, so hold midway for me. For me, I just play every game the best I can.
And what kind of process do you go through to actually get better? Because again, like you, outside of collegiate, you haven't run into too much trouble as far as your role in ADC. And we'll get into the non-collegiate in just a moment because we actually do. Since I'm rushing these questions, I actually do have a little bit of time to ask other questions I wanted to.
Okay.
Um, what kind of, whenever you're playing collegiate, what kind of things do you do to improve? Because again, you're the best. How do you stay on top of that?
So probably the biggest thing throughout the whole CLO season, not just specifically like the hard matches like Maryville for us, is trying your best to not play down to your opponent. It's very easy to fall into like traps if you're going against lower tier teams or teams that have like low to no macro. So just playing your game and just playing that to the best of your ability is definitely a way to just stay sharp. and to just practice good habits.
And so, going outside of the collegiate realm, you have actually suffered defeat finally. I mean, I mean, yeah, you guys are Columbia College as a whole undefeated in college law, League of Legends. Outside of that, you're having a little bit of trouble, though. You have looked to improve a little bit. So. Going to the Wichita LAN, I've reported on it before. Go check those out on youtube.com/tstarleague as well. Anyway, um, I have reported on that I mean, you Columbia College, you guys have made it further than any other collegiate team outside of college law, going against Wildcard Gaming, Zenith Esports,
Hmm.
AZO Esports, and even recently, what is it? It was at Grandview. It was the Grandview LAN. It was the Global Classic Esports Classic, and you guys actually made it to the finals of their championship brackets against AZO Esports. How has that sort of experience factored into how you are approaching collegiate League of Legends?
So for both those events you mentioned, we go into it kind of assuming we're going to win, and that's kind of bad. So losing those is actually super productive for us because it gives us a reality check. That's like, oh crap, maybe we're not the best, and then we double down on focusing and then look to improve off that. So it's actually super helpful that we just don't steamroll everything. I think it's very beneficial.
And that's something that's been brought up on Twitter a little bit too, because last week for the bracketology, it was a pretty big consensus that um, Columbia College, they're almost unbeatable, I should say.
Hmm.
Drake came out and said something otherwise, like we are very beatable. We have issues. What do you feel like your stance on the team is, as far as collegiate and then outside of collegiate, as far as being able to be beaten right now?
um,
Like, is there a
I mean,
team that you're looking forward to like facing that you think could give you a challenge? I mean.
there's teams I want to play, but there's teams that I don't think. I think if we're playing our game and we're playing it well, I think we'll do really, really well. I don't know if we'll stay undefeated. I want to, but hmm. Yeah, just looking to play our best every week is kind of the goal. So whatever team we're playing, if it's Cincinnati this week or Lords next week, whoever, I just want to win, stomp them, do our
Yeah,
best.
I'm actually from Cincinnati, fun fact. So
uh
I'll be watching.
oh.
It's okay. I accept fate. But so you as an ADC, who do you look toward as inspiration for the kind of person that you are, as far as like how you carry yourself in the lane as a team
Hmm.
member, things like that.
Well, I think the whole the AD I looked up to initially was Imp. That's kind of why I'm a Twitch player.
Yeah.
He's just always been he was a beast in Korea, and then went to China. So then I stopped kind of watching him because don't really watch China that much.
Right.
So once from Imp, it went to Deft because I think they're probably just the best. Obviously, I'm nowhere near them, but it's just something I strive for. Like pretty much the aggressive players is what I look for.
Yeah, you can tell because you play a lot of Zaya, and she's like extremely aggressive, and you're like,
Yeah.
it's actually again one of the reasons why your team has one of the highest KDAs, also, especially I know you're in region as well. Um, We're actually running down on time here. I do ask for the first 15 minutes of the show to have a guest. So I have a little bit of time here. Looking into the future, what do you look forward to? Because I know Midwest Campus Clash is coming up. You guys more than
Mhm.
likely are going to be post playoff for sure. Might even make it into the championships. Is there something you're really looking forward to coming up for the collegiate season, just overall?
Um, Probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most would be winning playoffs and then going to the finals in LA. I actually have a ton of friends in that area. You have the Toronto dudes, you have Shady, you have just a bunch of other people. So I really want to go meet them, hang out with them. And that experience last year was insane. It was more than I expected, and hopefully it's bigger and better this year.
Do you feel like that's one of the reasons why you keep playing, or do you just keep playing because you like the competitive feel of the league? And that's just an off question out of the very end here
Hmm.
because I just got curious.
I keep playing because I'm still trying to do something. I'm not. Uh, the end game for me is going pro,
Okay.
trying to at least. So that's why I still try to focus and improve and do better.
Awesome. I'm really glad I asked that question then, because I did want to know if you go pro, because like again, you're like one of the best ADCs. It'd be a shame to lose you somewhere in the scene. But time running out. Is there any last shout outs or any questions or anything you want to ask us, say, any social medias you want to plug, anything like that?
um, I think the only thing I want to do is shout out our coach Drake Porter. He's a beast.
Yeah.
Even though he kind of trash talks on Twitter a little bit too much, we love him.
All right. I really appreciate you being on the show. I said we're going to keep it to 15 minutes, so that's that. Have a good time. Be good luck in your scrims. Good luck this
Thank you.
weekend. And again, you're taking on Cincinnati, so I'll be watching
Thank
and
you so much.
probably crying. So have a good day, man. See ya.
See ya.
All right, so that was Evan RL, ADC for Columbia College. Thank you very much for being on the show. But that does bring us over to the topic section of the week, and quite a bit going on actually. So I'm very excited about this. The first one being actually in my place of residence, not my actual address, but my city, Las Vegas. There's the Mountain West Conference. First topic over there. First topic over there. There we go. Got it. The Mountain West Conference. That is an invitational of just Boise State. It's Boise State versus University of Nevada, Las Vegas. There's exhibition matches actually going on. It started yesterday and is going to be going on until tomorrow. Yesterday and today for League of Legends, there were exhibition matches between Boise State and University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And Boise State kind of cleaned house. Actually, fun fact, they wouldn't let me in the door for a second because they messed up the ticket that I got. Things happen. It's okay. I still got in. I got into the tail end of the game number one. So the exhibition matches are best of three. I got into the tail end of game number one, where it looks like UNLV was actually destroying Boise State. They had like 4 Drakes. I think it was like in 40 minutes, at 45 minutes. Again, I came in on the tail end, didn't get quite see, but Boise State won one team fight, came back and took the Nexus in that after that one team fight. So it was 1-0 after that in a best of 3. And then game number 2 was pretty much all Boise State. There was their ADC Red Hot went absolutely legendary on Varus. I say absolutely legendary because he got more than 8 kills. He was I think he went like 9 or 10 and 0. It was pretty incredible, and nobody on Boise State could get him. But that being said, again, those were exhibition matches. That being said, tomorrow's will be the championship match, and that will actually be in the Cox Pavilion over on the campus of University of Nevada, Las Vegas. So if you're in the area, even in LA or anything like that, you want to come over and check it out. Las Vegas and LA, they're very close together. It's not that far of a drive. It's worth it. It's actually a pretty cool convention. There's also basketball games going on too because March Madness is starting up as it is in March. So check it out. It'll be tomorrow all day. I actually haven't got the schedule out. I did ask one of the casters there, and they weren't able to provide me the schedule at the time. But you can actually keep up on the information for that tournament at twitter.com/8bit_esports. That is UNLV's Twitter handle. And it is worth mentioning Boise State, they went 2-4 in the North Conference. So they're actually out of the CLOL tournament, while UNLV, they're not even in the CLOL tournament. They went to CSL and they're actually undefeated right now in their conference. So that does show the kind of difference in skill level, and that is really cool to see. But I'm very excited for tomorrow. It should be a best of 5, I believe, and it'll be for the championship, the Mountain West Conference Championship of League of Legends. But moving on, there was a LAN that I actually did mention with Evan RL going on. That went on, March 4th. So that was last week. That was hosted by Grandview University. It wasn't strictly collegiate teams, but it was predominantly collegiate teams. We had Boulder, Midland, Lords, Pikeville, Bellevue, Indiana Tech, Columbia College, Grandview, of course, their varsity and their non-varsity team, along with Oakland University. And then they also had Fatality and Azio Esports. Sorry, sometimes I elongate the A. Azio Esports, which the ADC for that actually used to play for University of Kansas. So fun fact about that one. But the Bellevue University actually won the bronze bracket. Lords, they did not make it to the championship bracket. They had to drop down to the silver brackets. And for anyone who's wondering how the tournament worked, there is the pool, the play-in pool, and then the loser goes down to the next bracket. So Columbia College, they won all the way into the championship brackets. The teams that didn't win there went down to the silver brackets, and then the teams that did not win there went down to the bronze brackets. So therefore, you had 3 different brackets, 3 different titles to hold. Bellevue won the bronze bracket. Lords won the silver bracket. Columbia College, they came in second. They actually made it to the finals, but fell to Azio Esports. So congratulations to, of course, Azio Esports, but congratulations to Columbia College. They are putting themselves out there, getting the practice outside of collegiate. And again, what Evan RL said, that's exactly what they want because it's humbling for them. Shows that they're not invincible and that they can be defeated. And that's why we get tweets like what Drake tweeted out earlier today, where like they are defeatable. They can be defeated. So Azio Esports done it. Zenith Esports did it over in Wichita. That was a little bit of like was it like a month ago, 2 months ago, somewhere around there. I think it was only a month ago. But either way, they do have a weak spot, and it's up to one of the collegiate teams to try to take advantage of that one. Study those VODs, see what they did wrong. But we're going to go ahead and go over to the conference playoffs. Now, last week we did do bracketology where we went over in depth all of the conference playoffs. So I'm not going to go too far into them. North, South, and West. Nothing has changed. If you want anything on those, go to our YouTube at youtube.com/cstarleague. That's a third plug I've given that this week or this episode. Go ahead and go over there, check out our bracketology episode, and you can get the whole breakdown of the North, South, East, and West. The only thing that has changed this week is the East, because Concordia versus Horizon was the only game left to decide the last quarterfinalist, and Horizon actually ended up taking that one. They ended up taking out the game against Concordia, and now they will meet Western Purple of London, Ontario in the quarterfinals. Going on to the Big Ten playoffs. Yeah, the brackets weren't out last week because they had to play an extra week, but they are out now. So that wasn't super into the bracketology. We touched on it a little bit from last week, but I'm going to go into a little bit more this week as far as who is playing who. Ohio State University is going to be taking on University of Michigan, which is a great match. Everyone should go and watch that one if it's available anywhere on the internet, or keep up on Twitter if anyone, because those two are very old school rivals on the football field, and now they're the gridiron, as some of them call it, and now they're going to be rivals on the Rift as well. They've kind of kept up that rivalry. Fun fact about Fekes, some of the first collegiate games he ever casted were just exhibition matches between Ohio State University and University of Michigan. It was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that. It was before I got to CSL, and that was my intro into collegiate world. So if it weren't for these two teams, I might not even be here. I'm really appreciative of both of them, and I'm really excited for this game. Obviously, being an OSU fan, I do hope they win. But if I were casting this, of course, to be non-biased, University of Michigan, very good team as well. They have the mid laner Julius, who's actually been that mid laner for a couple years now. So kind of the rock in that team, looking to carry them into a victory here in the post regular season playoffs. There's also University of Maryland versus Michigan State, University of Illinois versus University of Wisconsin, University of Iowa versus Purdue University. So those to look forward to. Big Ten, kind of hard to broadcast, probably kind of hard to catch. We're going to be broadcasting those during the play-ins into the championship. So after playoffs, we'll get more coverage on Big Ten. But until then, all I have is what the brackets on Battlefy say. And the Peach Belt Conference, we're going to move on to that one. So they actually still have one more week to go because they're all playing a round robin, so it's taking 9 weeks to go. But the top 8 are the only ones that can go to the playoffs right now. There's 10 teams in the Peach Belt Conference. 3 teams are actually scrambling for that 8th spot. That is Georgia Southwestern, the GSW Hurricanes, Young Harris, and Francis Marion. They are all scrambling. I believe they're all, 2-7 right now? 2-6? Yeah, I think it's 2-6 right now because they're on week 9. That's right. So they're all 2-6 right now. They're all playing to get that one extra win to get that spot into the postseason, post regular season playoffs. And University of North Carolina at Pembroke, they are completely out. They have no chance of actually coming into this tournament. They are last place in the Peach Belt Conference, but they do take on the GSW Hurricanes, so they do have a chance to completely shatter their dreams and give them a loss if they have it in them. We're going to find that one out. I'll keep you up to date every week, of course, on the conference, the Big Ten, and the Peach Belt Conference playoffs. Going to go ahead and go over to the upcoming games. Normally I do a team of the week, but we're doing a post. That's for regular season, postseason, a little bit different. I want to focus more on the games because they are have a little bit more merit right now. I can get into team of the weeks almost every week of the year because there's so many colleges. But games going to be coming up. The teams are already set, so we're going to go and focus more on games coming up for the weekend. It's going to be a little bit difficult to schedule every game every week. Obviously, we had some issues last week. We did host a TMO Cup, broadcast a TMO Cup game, but we'll get into that a little bit more as Truman State was in that game last week, and they're going to be rebroadcast again this week against a different team. But let's go ahead and get into that one right now. TMO Cup, it is going to be between Truman State and South Florida. Truman beat Principia last week 2-0 and looked very dominant in their game, and they're going to be taking on South Florida to look to establish more dominance, keep that dominance up. So let me reiterate here as far as the TMO Cup prize winnings. It's not money, it is riot points. I know it's also fun just for the teams in general. Get a little bit more practice for next year. Not everyone's a senior. Not everyone's going to graduate. Some of these teams are going to be there, same roster next year, and they want to, they want to finish out with as much practice as possible against as many teams as possible. So this is a great way to continue on their practice and get better for next year. Hopefully, they can make it to the playoffs next year. Actually, Truman only they were one game away from getting into the playoffs. Ended up losing that one. Fortunate for them, but now maybe they can tear up the Timo Cup. So we do have other games coming up as well. Two playoff potential games, actually. Ryerson versus Waterloo and Toronto versus New York. Both of these are from the Eastern brackets, so that should be very exciting to actually get a good start and see the kind of power levels that we have over on the Eastern brackets. I haven't personally broadcasted any of these teams. I believe New York may have been broadcasted earlier in the season. Toronto maybe as well. But it is worth noting that the playoff games are going to be a best of 5, so they are going to be lengthy games. That's why we're not scheduling a big number of games every. We usually do 4. We might be doing 2 playoff games a weekend right now at the moment. The casters are very willing to do more, of course. We do want to, stretch those vocal cords to get a little bit more of the playoff broadcasting in there for not only ourselves, but of course for the viewers as well. But Ryerson versus Waterloo and Toronto versus New York are the teams that are scheduled to be there this week, and I have not been told that that's been canceled or anything like that. So those should be good. That will be happening tomorrow at 12 and 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we're going to be starting off with the playoff game, Waterloo versus Ryerson, and we're going to end out the day with the Timo Cup, Truman State versus South Florida. And then on Sunday, March 11th at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that is going to be Toronto versus New York. Again, playoff game, Eastern bracket. If we have anything else going on for us, going on C Star League playoff games that day, we'll gladly let you know on Twitter. You can actually follow me on Twitter. I'll let you know as well. Twitter.com/Fequez. Pheqes. I believe my name is somewhere around here. It might be. If not, Pheqes. Follow me on Twitter. You can also follow Twitter, C Star League's Twitter at twitter.com/C Star League. And if you just want collegiate League of Legends information, things like that, again, maybe get an update on that 4th potential game, it'll be twitter.com/CSLLOL. Also, I'm going to say it for the 4th time, check out our VODs. You can also go check out the Word Ups that I've been talking about in this episode of Word Up on our YouTube, where we put all of our VODs. You can also go look at games there as well at youtube.com/C Star League. Also, go follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/C Star League. And I normally don't give out a shout out on Twitch for for broadcasting us on the Word Up. I'm usually so pressed for time, but today was pretty easy. It was good. Evan RL was easy. He's easy guy to talk to, and then the topics were pretty easy too. I might be rushing it a little bit too. I'm trying not to, but either way. You can also go give a shout out to Twitch on Twitter at twitter.com/Twitch and Facebook at facebook.com/Twitch, because they've been with us forever since the very beginning. And the big reason why we're here, we probably wouldn't be able to broadcast any sort of collegiate activity without them. So thank you very much, Twitch, for being there with us. My name is Joshua Fequez Quest. I think that's it for tonight. Like I said, things kind of got wrapped up a little early, a couple minutes early. I'm usually very punctual, but tonight 2 minutes early. I ain't going to fight it. I'm going to leave the stream on for a second, play some music, and I definitely hope to see you here next week. Remember, there is some daylight savings time going on this Sunday, so be sure to set your clocks back. And it's very important for Toronto versus New York, because it is at 12 Pacific time. But again, with the daylight savings time, might be throwing you off a little bit. So just check it out. Keep that in mind, and be there. It's always good to check out the playoff games, because they're always the most exciting. Best of 5. Again, my name is Joshua Fequez Quest, and I will see you guys another time.